Join me on an unforgettable journey from Kampala to Jinja and beyond. In this video, I explore some of the most iconic attractions in eastern Uganda, including the famous source of the Nile. I do not take my presence at the source of the Nile for granted. Not everyone can come to this quarter. The Nile is the longest river in the world and starts right here in Uganda. Owen Falls Dam, also known as Narlubal Dam, is one of Uganda's most important landmarks, not just in Jinja, but in the entire country. It's built right at the point where Lake Victoria flows out to form the River Nile. This water you see here is the very beginning of the Nile's long journey through Africa. At the northern edge of Lake Victoria, where the waters of the Great Lake gather themselves and begin their long journey northward as the River Nile, lies the city of Jinja in eastern Uganda. For generations, Jinja has stood as a gateway between water and land, between nature and industry, between history and modern progress. Long before roads, railways, and hydroelectric turbines arrived, the area around Jinja was known for its rocks and powerful rushing waters. The region gained international attention in the 19th century when European explorers searching for the source of the Nile arrived in East Africa. In 1862, British explorer John Hanning Speke identified the point where the Nile flows out of Lake Victoria near Jinja as the river's source. As colonial influence expanded in Uganda during the early 20th century, Jinja grew from a small settlement into an administrative and commercial center. Roads, railways, and industries followed. Its location beside the Nile made it strategically important, and by the 1940s, planners saw Jinja not only as a town beside the river, but as a place capable of powering an entire nation. The Nile River has always been more than water to Uganda. It has been a source of transport, fishing, agriculture, and cultural identity. Yet by the mid-20th century, another possibility emerged: hydroelectric power. In 1947, engineer Sir Charles Redvers Westlake recommended the construction of a hydroelectric dam at Owen Falls near Jinja. The proposal was ambitious. Uganda, then under British colonial administration, needed electricity to support industrial growth and regional development. The site chosen for the project was known as Owen Falls, a powerful waterfall on the Victoria Nile just downstream from the lake's outlet. The natural force of the river offered ideal conditions for generating electricity. The construction of the Owen Falls Dam began in the late 1940s. Thousands of workers from different backgrounds participated in the massive undertaking. Engineers, builders, laborers, and administrators transformed the quiet riverbanks into one of East Africa's largest engineering projects. The work was difficult. Building materials had to be transported from the coast at Mombasa across long railway lines into Uganda. Entire worker settlements were established near Jinja. For Jinja, the project brought dramatic change. Shops, housing estates, and businesses emerged around the construction site. The town's population increased, and its economy began to grow rapidly. In 1954, the Owen Falls Dam was officially completed and commissioned by Queen Elizabeth II. The structure stretched across the Nile near Jinja and became one of Uganda's most important national assets. The dam harnessed the waters flowing from Lake Victoria to generate hydroelectric power. At the time of commissioning, the station operated with 2 turbines producing electricity for Uganda and neighboring regions in East Africa. Over the years, additional turbines were installed, increasing the dam's generating capacity. The original Owen Falls and the nearby River Falls disappeared beneath the waters created by the dam. Ancient rocks and waterfalls that had once defined the river's appearance were submerged forever. While the dam symbolized technological progress, it also marked the loss of a natural environment that had existed for centuries. To many Ugandans, the dam represented both achievement and sacrifice. Following the completion of the dam, Jinja rapidly evolved into Uganda's industrial center. Reliable electricity attracted factories and manufacturing industries to the city. Steel mills, textile factories, grain processing plants, copper smelters, and sugar industries emerged around Jinja. The city became known as the industrial heart of Uganda. Workers from across the country migrated to Jinja seeking employment and opportunity. During the 1950s and 1960s, the city flourished. Modern buildings, schools, neighborhoods, and businesses expanded with a reflected confidence and ambition. Jinja's growth was tied closely to the fortunes of Uganda. Political instability and economic decline during the 1970s and 1980s affected many industries. Some factories closed, infrastructure deteriorated, and the city's industrial dominance weakened. The Owen Falls Dam itself suffered from years of inadequate maintenance. Despite these challenges, the dam continued to provide electricity and remained essential to Uganda's national power supply. Over time, Owen Falls Dam has come to be known officially as the Narlubal Dam, adopting a name rooted in local culture. The renaming reflects a broader movement toward reclaiming African identity after colonial rule. In the late 1990s, rehabilitation and expansion projects restored much of the dam's generating capacity. New turbines improved electricity production, and an additional hydroelectric station known as Kira Dam was constructed nearby. Together, the Narlubal and Kira power stations became central pillars of Uganda's electricity network. The river that once rushed freely over rocks at Owen Falls has become a controlled force powering Uganda. The modern Jinja we see now is a city shaped by history and tourism. Although industry remains important, the city has become internationally known as an adventure destination. The source of the Nile remains one of Uganda's most visited landmarks. The dam itself stands as a symbol of engineering achievement and national transformation. Its turbines continue to generate electricity decades after the first waters passed through them. The dam has brought electricity, industrialization, employment, and modernization to Uganda. It has helped shape the country's economy and establish Jinja as a center of commerce and manufacturing. At the same time, the project has altered the natural environment and submerged important waterfalls that had once defined the landscape. The history of the dam reflects the complicated relationship between development and preservation. Today, the waters of the Nile continue to flow through Jinja, carrying with them memories of the past and hope for the future. From the ancient rocks to the roaring turbines of Narlubal, the city remains one of East Africa's most remarkable places, where the source of the Nile meets the power of human ambition. It is a city where one of the world's greatest rivers begins its journey. It is a place where waterfalls once thundered across ancient rocks, and where modern turbines now generate electricity for millions. The Owen Falls Dam has changed the destiny of Jinja and has immensely helped shape modern Uganda. As the Nile flows steadily northward, the story of Jinja continues, a story of nature, resilience, progress, and the enduring power of water.